in May that year, I was in a car accident in Boston and I broke my neck. So talking about injuries, because this is me. I try to avoid playing. My coach told me to avoid soccer and downhill skiing because it was too dangerous. I've broken a few things playing football. Yes, I have. But the neck, that was me avoiding a squirrel when I was driving the car and I hit a tree and I broke my neck, 2 vertebrae. Boston City Hospital and Dr. Rosiello. That was like 2 things that made a big mark in my sort of life curriculum. What do you call it? Lifeline. It's a long story in the story, but my neurosurgeon, Dr. Rosiello, he told me that I shouldn't take my guardian angel for surviving. I needed to thank my angels because he couldn't explain why I wasn't paralyzed if I was alive. And there I was ready to do a surgery. And he told me that I had, okay, so they stripped me on a bench. They flew me with helicopter. They put me on a bench. I wasn't allowed to move at all. And they put me through x-rays and CAT scans and whatever. I can't remember all, but I remember most of it. And after that, I was laying down. He came with his face over mine and he told me I have good news and I have bad news. And I told him, bring me the good news first, because that's how I work. I want to know what good I have to work with, and from there you can always find your way, right? So he said, well, you're alive. And I thought, well, no, duh. And then so I said, okay, what's the bad news? And he says, well, you've broken your neck. C4 and C5 are no good. And I can still be impressed today by that 20-year-old asking him that next question, because I said to him, so, okay, what's your plan? How are we going to fix this? And to me, this is natural, and I haven't really, maybe now when I'm old, I realized that this is unique, that we're not all like this, but this is how I work, and this is how I function with myself and my surroundings. So how we're going to fix this? What is the plan? And he told me that we have 2 choices. Either we strip you to a bench and pull you apart for 3 months, and then you get a halo. And the other way is to operate on you, but it's a 50-50 chance you survive. And I said, well, let's operate. What are we waiting for? And he said, well, we need to call your parents because we need consent from your parents. And I'm like, well, no, we don't do it like that. You operate on me, and then we call them and tell them that everything, Stina broke her neck, but we have operated on her and everything went well. That's how we do it. And he's like, well, no, that's not how we do it in the States. We need somebody to take responsibility for this, and it's not going to be you because you're not 21. And while I'm a grown up in Sweden, he's like, it doesn't matter. We need to call your parents. Just listen to me. And I'm like, and I was still lying down like this. So I said, okay, well, listen carefully, because I'm only going to say this once. And this is from some stupid TV show I watched with.
Hello.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, listen carefully, because I'm only going to say this once. I said, I must have been
high from the resistance.
He must have thought I was crazy. But anyways. He called my mom, and I persuaded her to say yes, and they operated on me like a day and a half after the accident, and 20 hours after the operation, I was up walking. I demanded them to let me up. I demanded them. They took bones from my hip, and they they reconstructed the vertebrae, and I still have my clip from 3rd to 6th. It's still there, because you can't put a cast on, So I was up walking and quite nervous, and I had like Harvard medical schools, all doctors around me, really scared that I was going to do something stupid. I wonder why, but I was fine. And then 2 weeks after the neck break, I told my doctor Rosiello that I didn't want to stay at the hospital anymore. I was done. And he's like, well, we want you here because you have broken your neck. Well, I'm healing, right? And I'm not healing well in a sick environment. This is no, I'm not for any use. And he's, well, you're not supposed to be for use right now. We want you to heal. And well, okay, I get the point, but I heal better at home. So they let me out with some terms. He was, really straight on me with this, because, and we know this is serious business, right? I was allowed to pick up 1 pound. That was it, not more. 1 pound is nothing. It's like 1/4 of a bottle of milk. It's nothing. It's light. And I said, okay, can I walk? And he said, yes, you are walking. Can I go swimming? And he's like, well, you can be in water. Nobody's allowed near you, but you can be in water. Good. Can I be on a bike? On a stationary bike? And he's like, yes, you can. And I said, okay. I picked up my bag, and everybody in the room yelled because it was more than 1 pound. But you forget, because he's I know. But anyways, I went home. I stayed with the family that I was working for. They hired a new nanny because I couldn't drive. I couldn't pick up kids. I couldn't do anything, but I could tell them what to do. So they hired another nanny, au pair, that did the job, and I did the yelling and the bossing around. It worked well. And 12 weeks after the neck break, they took me. During these weeks, I came in once a week, and they did an X-ray on me. Dr. Rosiello looked at the X-rays. He called me and he told me what he thought about it. So I didn't meet him for 12 weeks. And then 12 weeks after the surgery, I went back for my final checkup. And I went into his office. I knocked on the door and I went in, and he looked up and he said, my goodness, what have you been, dare I ask you, Stina, what have you been doing? And I was like, what? What? And he said, well, rarely my patients bounce into my office 12 weeks after the neck break. What have you been doing? And I said, well, you told me I could swim and walk and ride the bike. And he's like, yes. The thing is, I walked 8 kilometers every morning. I was in the pool. Everybody at the beach club knew. They saw me. I was walking around in my neck brace. They saw me, so they knew I was broken. I was healing, but they thought I was broken. So I was in the pool, and I did exercises that I could do many hours a day. And then when I came home at night, I sat on the stationary bike that they fixed. They got me at home, at the house, and I sat there for 45 minutes. So I kept going. And this is my mental method. This is what I think, I believe in. I think that we are always more healthy. We are more able than we are broken.